This was a lovely introduction, and hello everyone. My name is Alex and I am a part of the Olio team. I have joined 3 years ago now, back when it was just a few people operating from North London. And since then we've grown to over 40 people on the team, and yeah, 3.5 million users worldwide. And at Olio, I'm taking care of all things growth marketing, user acquisition, and yeah, in general, performance marketing is my side of things. And today's talk is going to be all about growing an app with a mission, aka why is food waste a massive problem and what can we do to help? Okay, yeah. So yeah, we're going to start off with talking about food waste. Is it really as bad as we make it out to be? Then we'll jump on to talking about Olio, the very beginnings, how two female founders started this global sharing movement, and then we will mention the whole journey. How did it happen that we managed to grow Olio to 3.5 million users in 59 countries over the past few years? Okay, let's begin. First of all, why? So telling you a bit more about our main enemy, which is food waste. I would say that probably most of us have had some experiences with food waste. It's probably that back of spinach, the back of your fridge that got moldy by accident and you just had to throw it away. And binning food is often associated with genuine physical discomfort because we do know it's wrong. But what we often don't realize is quite how big the problem is. So globally, 1/3 of all the food produce is going to waste, meaning that 1/3 of all the food we manage to grow is literally ending up in landfill like it is here. And there are some severe consequences associated with this. Let's say the fact that if food waste were a country, it would be the 3rd largest greenhouse gas emissioner after the US and China, or the fact that an area larger than China is used to grow food that is then never eaten. It all ends up in landfill. And while we like to think that, this is just a problem happening somewhere down the supply chain, not much we can do about it, this is also not quite correct. In developed countries like the UK, over half of all the food waste is taking place in the home, meaning that whether you're more of a glass full, half empty, or half full, we are both part of the problem, but also part of the solution. There's a lot we can do as individuals. So on one hand, a huge problem of food waste. On the other hand, a huge problem of hunger. Worldwide, we have 800 million people hungry. And once again, we like to associate hunger with, different continent away from us. It's not really something that affects us, Europe, the UK. And that's also incorrect because in the UK alone, there is over 8 million people living in so-called food poverty. And out of those 8 million, 4 million are living in a severe food poverty, meaning that they do not know when their next meal is coming. So again, we're binning a lot of food and there's millions of people going to bed hungry. And there's also this side of food waste. Project Drawdown conducted a study and it was published last year saying that the very one thing you can do, the most effective solution to reversing the climate crisis is food waste, is reducing food waste. It came above solar panels or electric cars or even a vegan diet. Reducing our food waste is the number one thing we can do to reverse the crisis. And knowing all that, what does actually Olio do? How does it work? And how can you join, probably? So we sort of have two sides of the business. On one hand, it is a neighbor-to-neighbor sharing. So we are an app that allows people to share their food and non-food items as well for free with the neighbors. So to give you an example, if you have any surplus food, let's say some surplus tomatoes you're not going to use, you can just list it on the app. Your near Oliver is going to get a notification saying that there was just some tomatoes listed and they can pick it up, arrange a pickup with you. On the other hand, we have the businesses. We have teamed up with a ton of amazing businesses that want to reduce their food waste, and we have volunteers who pick up their surplus food by the end of the day and then again redistribute that for free in their neighborhoods. Okay, and to show you some examples of what is actually shared on the Olio app, here is some of the amazing stuff. And I think pretty much everything has been shared on Olio so far, but let's pick the beautiful listings, like all of those things that would end up in landfill otherwise, or there's beautiful tulips or asparagus. And when it comes to non-food items, it's bicycles, plants, cosmetics, it's often books and clothes, and truly all things that you no longer need, that no longer bring value to your own life. This is how the app looks like. It's a very clear, sort of and simple interface. Again, all you have to do to list something on the app is snap a photo, insert a short description, and voila, it's pretty much done. Then you can arrange the pickup, and that's it. And again, sharing does feel really good. Okay, so I'm sorry about this. Oh no, 1 second, I'm really sorry. I'll close this tab. Okay, we're here. So how did it start? Back in 2015, Tessa, the co-founder, this woman here, had the aha moment. She was moving houses from Geneva back to the UK, and she had some surplus perishable food she couldn't bring with her. And she wanted to give it away, and she couldn't. She was trying to find a neighbor that would take it. No one would. No one was at the house, and she was quite shocked that there's an app for everything, and there was no apps for sharing at all. So she pitched the idea to the other co-founder, Sasha, Celestial One, and being graduates of the Stanford MBA program, they knew what to do, so they drafted a quick business plan and they went for it. So they, starting off with the MVP, the very first version, let's say, of Olio was simply a WhatsApp group. So it was 12 people in a WhatsApp group, 12 strangers. That's quite important. And they were put there to share food, just to test the concept of Olio if it's actually going to work. And it did work. The first thing that was shared on Olio 1.0 was a bag of onions. And this was enough for them to know that, yes, this is something we need to build. So they did all the manual work. They have hundreds and tens of thousands of letters and handed it out to the neighbors. They were giving out flyers. They were begging grocery store owners to give them some surplus food by the end of the day so they can then give it away by the tube station while telling everyone they could about Olio. Also joining hundreds of Facebook groups back when it was actually allowed to spam this many Facebook groups, and just telling every single person about Olio. Again, very manual process at the beginning, nothing scalable, just getting your hands dirty and doing the work. And fast forward 6 years, where we are now, which is at 3.5 million users globally in 59 countries. We have collectively shared 15 million portions of food that have saved 2.5 billion liters of water worldwide. Again, so how did we go from 2 co-founders back in 2015 in North London to something that now looks like this, which is a global sharing movement happening in pretty much every continent and counting. We have 59 countries, and we do truly hope that this is just the beginning. And by 59 country, I mean that we have seen a successful share. So someone listed something on the app, and then someone came to pick it up from the app. Okay, so how did we grow this app, the journey? As every app, we have tried everything there is. We just had to give it a go. Again, there's no silver bullet. There was just a ton of collective effort from everyone on the team, a lot of manual stuff, then trying to scale it, just testing out all the possible solutions. And while our growth is a compound effect of everything we've done, there are three main things that did help to accelerate the growth. It was the community, which is absolutely the core of everything we do at Olio. It was Facebook advertising, which has helped us enormously when it comes to acquiring users at a very low cost and then retargeting them. And the partnerships, which were truly transformational when it comes to the supply side of food on Olio. And to walk you through all three of those things. First of all, community. Absolutely, again, the key when it comes to everything we do. So we quickly realized that when you do something good, when people can associate with the mission, when they see that it makes sense, when they do want to help. So all you have to do is ask, is kindly ask, and they do want to help. I think today we've had 75,000 users reach out to us to sort of help spread the word about Olio. And we've also integrated that into the customer journey. So you can see this model in the app, then you click on it and this sort of short email pops up. We have 6 volunteering opportunities on the website, and again, becoming a sort of an Olio ambassador is integrated in the user journey. So everyone can learn about it, the benefits of spreading the word about Olio in your neighborhood and how to do it. It's often a very easy thing, like click to share type of thing, but every little bit helps. 3.5 million people spread the word about Olio. The compound effect of it is just incredible. And there's also all those amazing stories we get from people. We have dedicated actually a Twitter account just to them, so I would invite all of you to quickly check it out later on. But we get so many heartwarming stories, we just had to store them in one place. And this is also a wonderful reminder for us on the team, when there's a bad day, let's say, thinking about all the people we are genuinely helping on a daily basis, that's just insanely motivating and makes you keep going. There's a ton of amazing stories that we get from people all around the world, and we do like to celebrate those a lot. Okay, second of all, paid ads. As I said, we've tried everything almost, and Facebook was by far the most effective platform for us. So where do we advertise currently? Our biggest market is the UK. We have the biggest density there in London predominantly. The second biggest market is actually Mexico City, but we do advertise in several countries like the US, Sweden, Singapore, New Zealand, and we've recently started advertising those 3 countries, which is Chile, Argentina, and Colombia. So what Facebook advertising allowed us to do is to activate remote geographies without us ever being physically there. So by investing some amount of money, let's say in Colombia, we're able to grow a community that is now sharing, that doesn't need as much support, and we could all done it from a tiny flat somewhere in London. So this has been absolutely transformational for us, not having to be physically there. You could just do it from your laptop. The way I approach Facebook advertising is usually acquiring the user at a very low cost because, again, of the product we have, which is quite literally free food and free stuff. So we can acquire the user at a fairly low cost, and then we often retarget them and sort of catch them at various points of their journeys to encourage a certain behavior in the app. And this is how the ads look like. Again, this is a very available resource. There is a Facebook ads library in case you want to check it out, where actually every company, you can see every company's Facebook ads there in case you want some inspiration or you want to investigate simply. And this is how our ads look like. And what I wanted to show you is that they're not like stunning. They're not absolutely beautiful ads that are show-stopping, but they're quite real. We use real listings from the app. We mention that it's free. We mention why it's free. We usually use some social proof as well. That tends to work quite well for us. And yeah, again, showing real people, real listings, and real reasons as to why people would give away perfectly fine food. We tried some beautiful photo shoots and none of that worked for us. It has to be real. 3, the last point is partnerships. So we work with over 12,000 stores. So the way it works, again, is volunteers picking up the food from those stores by the end of the day, and then redistributing that food for free in their close neighborhoods. While we've partnered with a ton of amazing companies like Costa or Pret a Manger or Starbucks or Sainsbury's, by far the most transformational for us was the partnership with Tesco. It was finalized last year and the rollout was in all of the UK. Essentially, we have volunteers picking up food from every single Tesco store in the UK. So as you can imagine, the supply side of things is pretty amazing and allowed us to exponentially grow as well. You know, when there's a lot of food on the app, there's a lot of people joining the app as well, because anyone who picks up some free food, they just want to brag about this expensive something they just got for free. So word of mouth and word of mouth is working wonders for us. And again, you can see all the headlines of the Tesco partnership that we've had. Tesco has been an amazing partner, of course, for us. And again, it started last year and it was absolutely a huge milestone for us as a small company. And here are some examples of the food that we managed to rescue, the amazing heroes, food waste heroes, as we call them, rescued tens of tons of food every single week from the Tesco stores all across the UK. And it's just those incredible, incredible things that would sadly end up not being eaten otherwise. So thank you to all of them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. To summarize, food waste is a massive problem. There is something we can do about it because a huge chunk of it is happening in our homes. An average UK family is wasting around, I think, 700 pounds of food every year just by binning it. And again, do not underestimate the power of community. Some effective, well-optimized advertising online and partnerships are a big, big deal. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Alex. That was great. I will do a few questions now, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
And maybe you can stop sharing your slides. Yeah. And great. So we do have a question from Ewa, who's asking whether, with a couple of similar apps, and she mentions Foodsy, Too Good to Go. She's obviously an expert. She already on the market. How did you position Olio against them? Did you take advantage of them not being known enough yet in the UK?
Olio, we do something similar. Again, we do have some aspects of the business similar to Too Good to Go, like again, picking up the food from businesses, but the biggest part of Olio is this C2C sharing, and that doesn't really have much competition as of yet. So again, it all comes down to the community. Again, this is a huge competitive advantage for us, having built a strong community of people who now became friends or sharing food between one another. So this is where we pay a lot of focus.
Got it. And I guess the Tesco partnership as well is a good advantage. So
yeah.
I was interested to see with your user and usage breakdown that something like 3.5 million users, 15 million items saved, something like that. So
yeah.
Is it the case that how does it break down? Do you find you've got super users who are
absolutely
accounting, or is it sort of everyone shares a bit? How does that sort of played out?
No, not at all. Certainly not everyone shares that much. We have absolutely people, as we call them, super adders and super requesters. So super requesters get a lot of value from the app by picking up so many free things from the app. And super adders, which are also mainly the food waste heroes, as we call them. So people who pick up the food from businesses, they add a ton of free food listings to the app.
And what type of users are they? Is it sort of mainly, younger Gen Z people, or is it more older people? How is it more female than male, or?
We really want Olio to be as inclusive as possible. So Olio is for everyone, by everyone, but looking at the user base we currently have, majority is female, but it's not like 90 to 10%, it's more like 65 to 35%. And yeah, we have people from all backgrounds, everyone essentially, but I'd say the most are female, around mid-20s, mid-30s, that type of age, yeah.
Great. And Charlotte has a question, and she's a brand marketing manager, and she's saying, did you come across any issues when scaling your user growth, and how did you overcome this?
There were some issues when it was happening too fast, maybe. Sometimes when we invested too much money, let's say in remote geographies like Argentina and Colombia, we then had to sort of quite manually try to convince them to actually add something to the app. But once you get a certain point of also density, it becomes very like self-sustaining.
And I guess you sort of personally, you've also gone on this journey. If I'm correct, we weren't working in app marketing before.
Exactly. Yeah.
You've kind of joined and, taken this sort of startup kind of rocket ship. So, how have you managed to, scale with the growth of the company? Is it a case of just learning by doing, or?
It is. I think it's a very, startup approach, just sort of throw you at the deep end and you need to fix. The nice analogy the co-founders use always is building a plane as you fall down. So this is essentially what we often do. And a ton of learning from other people, from all types of podcasts, industry talks, summits like this one, and just trying to exchanging ideas. Yeah.
A question from Stas, who is head of growth at Ada Health. Hi, Stas. Good to see the Ada Health crew here from, normally they're in a Berlin event, or they're big winners at the App Growth Awards one year. So Stas is asking, what are your main KPIs in UA? Is it mostly cost, since your product is probably not monetizing users directly?
So it changed a while ago as we scale as well. At the moment, we focus on transactional users. So this is the main metric, the sort of North Star metric we focus on. So people who take an action in the app, whether it's adding something to the app or requesting something of the app. And this is the main metric we are trying to grow currently.
Got it. And to follow up on Stas's question, so what's the business model?
Yes, that is the big question. We have sort of two revenue streams currently. We work with businesses, and this gives us some money, but it's not enough to sustain the whole upkeeping of the app, because that's an expensive thing to do. So we actually yesterday we have rolled out a Olio supporter option, which is you can subscribe to this thing to support our mission, to unlock some extra features, and to see us grow further. And what allowed us to get to this point is definitely investor money. So we've had some great investors who believe in what we do and that this is the future of tech for good.
Great. And Ivo has a question. He's the CTO at Cogsum. And he says, how do you know whether the shared food has been eaten or wasted?
Well, we do not know that. There's no way for us to sort of monitor all of that. I think a big part of circular economy comes down to also trust. Like you need to believe in some things, so we can't monitor that they actually do not bin the food when they pick it up. But I would very much hope that they do not.
And when you were talking about the paid ads, and you obviously picked out some obvious places, UK, US, but there's a couple of other markets, kind of
Yeah.
Chile, I think you mentioned. So how did you choose where you were going to invest your limited budget? What was the sort of trigger to say, right, we're going to put some money into Chile?
Again, a very startup way, which is let's test everything and see what works. We had like a short brainstorming session, and the outcome of it was, let's try 10 countries. Let's see what the CPI cost for one install is. Let's see how much does it cost for us to acquire a so-called adder. And we tested this for a few weeks, and then based on those results, we then invested even more in those few countries that actually performed amazing, and which tends to be South America.
Right. Okay. And so what was why was South America so sort of fertile for you then?
So from almost the very beginning, we have had the app in 2 languages, English and Spanish, and we've been growing Olio from the very first years in Europe, in the UK, and in Mexico. And because of some people who reached out to us who wanted to grow the app there, and it's been a great market for us. I think people just have a different approach to food, to how they value food, to the items. I don't know, they don't live in as much abundance as we do, and they just appreciate things a bit more. So hence why we decided to double down on some of the other markets in that area.
Got it. And Luca is asking and he's the co-founder of an app called Nibbler. I'm going to check that out later. Sounds like it's something to do with food, but we'll have to see. Hopefully it's not a competitor. Luca is asking, what's the biggest challenges and learnings in matching and growing the supply and demand on Olio?
Yeah, so supply has been quite steady when you have some good partners on your side. There's not been a huge problem with demand because, I mean, it is free stuff. So people do want it, obviously, but yeah, there's been definitely some challenges in markets where we do not have partners as of yet, to sort of, how do you encourage people to share their things, especially if it's not part of their culture to share. That's been a huge issue, let's say, in the Bay Area. It was very, very tricky to sort of encourage people to list anything on the app.
That's interesting. Okay, great. So, well, as sort of final question for me, what's next for this year? What kind of plans have you got for this year?
Well, I can tell you what's the plan for the decade, and that is 1 billion followers. Tessa and Sasha are quite bold about it, and we like it that way. Plan for this year, again, exploring the foreign markets, once again, double downing on those places and working on partnerships. So trying to get more businesses on board, so we have that a constant inflow of perfectly edible food that would otherwise end up in landfill, which is heartbreaking.
Great. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Alex. We had some great comments. People are, very inspired.
Thank you so much. Yes, great questions.
Inspired by it, and I think we'd definitely like to have you back to share how you got to 1 billion users when you hit that milestone.
2030, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay, and hopefully you can hit it a bit quicker. And yeah, we'd love to have you back. So yeah, thanks so much. Thank you everyone today for taking part, and we will be back on Tuesday with the Apps Optimization Day. We will then be back on Wednesday with the User Acquisition Day, talking more about Facebook ads and that kind of thing. And then we will also be back on Thursday talking product and engagement and post-acquisition. So please check out all the great stuff we have on the agenda. Hopefully you can put some stuff in your calendar to attend. A handy tip is once you've added it to your calendar on Swapcard, you can then export that and take it onto your calendar under your profile. So hope you can do that. So yeah, thanks for taking part today, and we'll see you back again on Tuesday. Thanks again, Alex.
Thanks, James. Bye.